Deadpool is directed by Tim Miller, who would go on to direct Terminator Dark Fate. The movie stars Ryan Reynolds as the titular character Deadpool, who goes on a revenge quest against the man who destroyed his entire life. I remember watching this film back in 2016 when it first came out. I was very young. I believe I was 14 years old at the time, and I loved the movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was edgy. It was my type of humor then and my type of humor now. So you could clearly see that I have not gone through any character development in the past 8 years or so. Give me time, okay? But all in all, since then, I've watched the second film and this one a few times. I read the comic that I have, played the video games, watched some of the X-Men films, and I have to say, I still think this Deadpool film overall holds up pretty well. Is it as good as it was for me back then? No, I was overhyping it to death, but I still found it to be a really entertaining and funny superhero film, and one of the best ones and a lot of that is due to Ryan Reynolds' performance and how he captures the character of Deadpool. He is so perfect in this role. I can't imagine anyone doing a better job than he did. It first started off with a test footage that may or may not have been leaked by him and some of the other employees at Fox, but they are able to get that test footage out, prove to everyone that they can make this work, and that ended up being the opening battle sequence in this film. And man, does the action hit hard. The R rating gave a lot of this action such a visceral feeling to it that I had never experienced in a superhero film at the time before. A lot of superhero movies back then, before Deadpool, were PG-13. Some were R, but they were very, not popular movies and no one really knew about them. It wasn't until Deadpool, which became the highest grossing R-rated film at the time, which was then later topped by its sequel and then Joker, and the action here just wowed everyone. We have seen R-rated action in many other films and R-rated action films in the 80s, but superhero films is like a big market. Like, you need to get everyone in the seats because these movies cost like over hundreds of millions of dollars. So going for action sequences like this is pretty risky because yeah, it's fun, but you want to bring kids for superhero films. This movie doesn't really care. It just wants to be its own thing. It wants to be purely capturing the character of Deadpool to perfection, and I think this movie did a fantastic job at that. And one of the necessary key components that you need to do that is the action sequences. They have to be brutal. They have to be bloody. And man, are they brutal and bloody. I think the action sequences here, despite looking a bit too CGI-ish, and a lot of the CGI here don't hold up as well today, is still for the most part is helmed really well with some really impressive stunt work. And that's all with a budget of $51 million. It's one of the cheapest superhero films ever made, and it all looked like $100 million film. From the costume design to the production design to the lighting, it all worked so well. I really enjoyed TJ Miller here. This is one of his better performances. He has a few good jokes here and there as Weasel, his best friend. I think Deadpool's love interest is a pretty good love interest. I cared about Vanessa enough for me to understand why Deadpool is wanting to try and get back with her after everything he's been through. I think the villain Ajax is a pretty good villain. He is not the most complex or anything, but I think he does the job very well. He poses a formidable threat to Deadpool, and I really like the performance that the actor gives this character. Overall, I think the casting here is pretty good. Colossus and Nuggets on a Teenage Warhead are really good characters here. I love Blind Owl and her kind of on and off friendship with Deadpool. It is really sweet and nice. All the characters here, I think, work very well. But again, the star of the show is Ryan Reynolds. I can't stress it enough. He is perfect. He got the humor down to perfection. He got the character of Deadpool right here. He breaks the fourth wall at many points of the film, though not to an over extreme amount. There's a good amount of fourth wall breaks, but are only used when it feels like it is necessary. But the film also lets a lot of serious moments play out very seriously. Even Deadpool's narration throughout the film, while it can be tongue-in-cheek, can also be serious at times. The movie balances out the tone very well, and I think it makes the film feel like there is something at stake despite its humorous and carefree nature. And that is all due to really good directing by Tim Miller. Say what you will about him in Terminator Dark Fate, he gave me hope for that film because of his work on this film. I think he did a really good job directing all these elements of action, drama, comedy, and made it all blend together very well. And that is something you gotta commend the man, especially for this being his first feature film. And with this being his first feature film, being a superhero movie with a budget of $50 million, this is impressive stuff, really. If I have to pick any negatives, as I said before, the CGI, while I will say it is overall good, doesn't hold up that well today. There are many points in the film where it felt like the CGI can be a bit on and off. And a lot of the humor doesn't work all the time. Like, there are some jokes that don't make me giggle as much anymore. But that is kind of me being nitpicky there. There are some points in the film where the cast itself, whenever they're by themselves, without Ryan Reynolds on screen, where I just feel like I didn't care all that much. Gina Carano is fine, but I feel like she doesn't serve that much of a purpose, apart from being the henchwoman for Ajax. But yeah, these are all basically minor nitpicks here and there that don't really detract too much from the actual film, because I still think it is overall really fun, really funny, well directed. I think the editing worked really well too. It is a really well edited film, and the writing here is solid. I think this script is really good. The humor works very well. As I said, the movie balances its tone pretty well, having the dramatic moments play out when it needs to and not make light of the situation. Even Deadpool, despite his carefree nature, is still taking the situation seriously, and you could really feel his anger despite his carefree, humoristic nature. But he is very sadistic here at points with the bad guys, and that is how Deadpool should be. Yes, he is a jokester, but there's a sadistic side to that I think the movie captures extremely well due to his driven anger here. And that was all perfectly illustrated with Ryan Reynolds as his character. Again, he is perfect and is what makes this film. Overall, this movie holds up for the most part really well. I'm going to give Deadpool an A. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.